Now let's configure the VPN tunnel on our Cisco router that we're connected to. Here we are. So right now our interfaces are configured and connected based on our design. And here's a quick summary of that. So those are the interfaces and they both are in a up status, which is important. And again, based on the diagram, this is a Cisco ISR 2801 router that is running iOS version 15.1 right here using the advanced services feature set. So now let's go ahead and begin our configuration. We have prepared the configuration that is needed and we will be applying it in small steps, matching most of the details we selected from the template from our firewall. So the first part of the configuration will be this. Let's bring that up. And this will add the phase 1 proposal details, which will be our ISACM policy. So in this ISACM policy, we need to define the authentication method to be pre-shared. Next, our configuration will include the encryption and hashing algorithms that will be used. So that will be triple DES for the encryption and SHA hashing for integrity checks on our VPN. Next, we will define the DeFi helmet group, which is the DH group that you saw in the FortiGate, and that will use group number 5, which is reflected right here. We will also define the matching ISACM pre-shared key that was configured on our FortiGate, which is Cisco 123, along with the WAN IP of our firewall. So let's go ahead and apply this configuration to our router. For the next part of our configuration, let's bring it up. We will now get into phase 2 of the IPSec VPN tunnel, matching what is configured once again on our FortiGate unit. So first here in this configuration, we need to define the ISACM transform set policy that will define the encryption and the hashing algorithms. So for this proposal, we will use triple DES encryption and MD5 hashing, which is also what our firewall is using based on the template. Next, we will create an access list that will specify the local and the remote networks, similar to what we did on the firewall for what networks are allowed for routing across the VPN. So in this ACL, the LAN at 172.19.101.0, which is connected off of this router, can access the user and the server network at our main office. So these ACLs are very important to configure correctly. And of course that ACL group, which is 112, okay, that will be applied to a VPN policy along with the transform set, the WAN IP of our firewall, and the DH group or the PFS group, which would be group number 5. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this phase 2 related configuration. Let's go ahead and apply it. And let's go ahead and apply this policy part. And finally, this will apply our VPN policy to the WAN facing interface on our Cisco router. This makes it active. And of course, once we do that, we do see that ISACM is now turned on officially. With our VPN configured on both ends, let's confirm if our user computer is able to ping across the VPN. And we have reachability between our 2 locations, so everything is working. So we can view the active VPN tunnel from our Cisco router by viewing the active ISACM tunnel. And this here is the command for that. Okay, so we see the correct information and it will be QM idle. That means it is an active ISACM tunnel that is established. But we can also view the details of the active IPSec tunnel. Okay, and that right here will show right here. This will show the number of packets that are being encrypted and decrypted across the VPN tunnel between these particular networks. So let's go back to our firewall. Here we can view the active VPN by going to the IPSec monitor page. So go to monitor and then to IPSec monitor. And there you will see that the VPN tunnel is up. We see the IP of the Cisco router, including the number of incoming and outgoing packets across this VPN tunnel. Let's do another connectivity test, but from the remote site, and we would do that from the Cisco router. So let's confirm if we can reach the user network. And we're going to source from our LAN interface. Okay, and that works. Let's confirm if we can access the server network. Okay, and that works as well. So we do have connectivity between those two networks. Let's go back to our firewall again. We can view that activity by going to the policy monitor page, which we have done before. Okay, and there we do see some activity from our VPN from both directions. Okay, let's go into one of these policy IDs. And here we can view the source and the destination and what they're accessing, which will provide some great visibility in what is being used over the VPN, which is great for troubleshooting details. So that will conclude this video for configuring and testing a site VPN from a FortiGate firewall to a Cisco router. And very quickly, before we do conclude, I forgot to mention one thing which is important is if you are configuring a VPN between two FortiGate units, well, the process is even more simpler. You basically go back to the wizard page, and instead of selecting site-to-site Cisco, which is what we did, you simply just select site-to-site FortiGate, run through the same steps for authentication, policy and routing, and even client options if that's applicable, depending on what you're setting up, and you are finished. So configuring or adding VPN tunnels between two FortiGates is very, very easy. So just keep that in mind if you are doing that between two FortiGate units.